Impossible is nothing but an illusion. But it is a very, very convincing one. Now that was an illusion and impossible. Thank you.
This guy is very, very good. He will cause you to realize that you are very, very good. And I'm telling you, it's a pleasure and an honor for me to endorse this man's work.
By now, you might find yourself and your mind questioning the guy talking, his weird accent, and is he or is he not? You're right, I am. Not from here. Even though I live in Las Vegas, I ended up moving there all the way from the exotic city of Miami. Yeah, I did. You don't buy into that at all, do you? Well, I did move from Miami, but my accent is from Denmark, which was recently voted one of the happiest nations on the planet. A month after I left, can you believe that? Now they're happy, so thrilled they've gotten rid of me. An illusion is a thing that is likely to be wrongly perceived or interpreted by your senses. Now, I believe impossible is just that, an illusion. It is a false concept we're taught to believe in, and unfortunately, it prevents us from achieving what we really want. Instead, we're taught to aim for what's normal and predictable, because what we really want is impossible, right? Now, I know a thing or two about illusions and how to deceive people's senses. In fact, I did that for a living for over 20 years, producing and performing shows on television and cruise ships all over the world. What I have come to realize, though, is that my work is often not required at all. People are mighty great at deceiving themselves. In fact, with 99% certainty, you are doing that right this minute. How so, you ask? Well, and there you have the illusion. Not on stage, not in the letters falling, but in your mind. From my perspective, this illusion took about 1.5 years and 500 hours. That's why magicians don't have a life. From your perspective, the illusion took a little under a second, the time it took those letters to drop. But it's the two sides of the same coin. It's just a different perspective. There's a reason why it is much harder to perform magic for children than adults. Much harder. Ask any of my peers, and they'll tell you horror stories about their performances at children's birthday parties. Seriously, I have my own horrible memories. Why? Kids are not conditioned yet to the same extent we are. They're not taught yet not to use their imagination. I'm going to let you in on a secret. It's the exact opposite. The older you are, the more you know intellectually, the more school you've gone through, the more assumptions you will have about the world. And the easier it becomes for an illusionist like me to exploit those assumptions and deceive you, but most importantly, the easier it becomes for you to deceive yourself. But it stops today. By exploring and destroying these illusions, you will be moving closer to a better understanding of who you really are and what is truly real, so that you can start to live a life with more passion, purpose, and potential. I mean, how would you like to be able to create impossibilities in your own life? Now, speaking of impossible, there's a little dose of it right over there. You see that envelope? In fact, you will be directly responsible for that impossible outcome. What? Oh, remember what we talked about earlier? Our eyes are definitely the least trustworthy of our senses. It's just a rubber hammer. Calm down. Have you ever felt isolated, disconnected, and alone? That you aren't connected to the same opportunities others are? That you don't have the same people and resources in your network? If you've ever felt like that, please put your hand up. Me too. For us to go from that to feeling connected to everything we can possibly imagine, and for us to draw that into our lives and be happy no matter where we are and whomever we are with, we have to conquer this next illusion. Now, how does that connection even look like, right? Trust me, it looks like real magic. And let's stop talking about it and start walking the talk instead. If you currently find yourself to be in a longer-term relationship, please put your hand up, with someone else besides yourself. Because there's some people, they're like, yeah, been for years. No, right, what's the big deal? The big deal is that I actually never touched you. I touched Eric. That came out wrong. So, but it's true. It's true. I touched his shoulder, his nose, and his hand, yet you felt the imprint of that touch.
Really?
Really? Right? Seriously.
Wow.
And this is you guys. I mean, I'm just the messenger. Awesome. So the next time you're about to fall prey to that illusion of space and separateness, next time you're about to feel isolated and alone, think back to this moment. Think back to what Eric and Nina just illustrated and realize that you're already connected to your dream. And your dream is already connected back to you through that vast sea of invisible connections because you are your environment. Thank you. Remember, it's not who you are that's holding you back. What's likely to be holding us back are the illusions of who we think we're not. What was that about? Was it about communication? Was it about appearance? What was it? Any idea? Observation? Perception? No, it was about change. Change towards the impossible. See, what happened in your mind when I asked you to change 12 things? I bet many of you were hit with that mental block of, that's impossible, right? The mind's conditioned response. But how did you feel when I just asked you to change 2 things? Fairly easy, right? Took the first step, found a way, not a biggie. When I asked you to change 1 more, you found a way, you figured it out. And I guarantee you, if I had asked you to change 1 or 2 more things, you would have figured that out too. And that would have put you halfway there to the 12. So my point is that change towards the impossible happens in a gradual process. It happens by taking action in smaller or larger scale, but doing it every single day. Thank you. Shakespeare once said, all the world's a stage, and the men and women in it merely players. So what is your stage? What is your version of impossible? Is it great health? Is it inner peace? Is it starting a business? What is it? Can you imagine how your life would be like when you're living that new reality? Now, you're about to receive my secret recipe for inventing illusions here. But first, I need to know, can you keep a secret? Awesome, so can I.
This is read out loud at exactly 4:43 p.m. by the great Marco, passionately.
What would be the odds of me dreaming this in advance, you ask? I'd say pretty darn close to impossible. And soon you will too. Mark Twain once said, they did not know it was impossible, so they did it.